So have you ever, heard the term balkanization? It's usually when like countries split up, right? Like into smaller states. But what we're diving into today, it's a bit different, a bit unsettling. We're looking at Argentina and the idea of it potentially balkanizing.
Yeah.
But before you start picturing, maps being redrawn and borders shifting, it's not that straightforward.
Right.
This isn't about like physical borders. It's something else. It's like deeper, more insidious, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
More societal and political. At least that's what we're going to be exploring today. We're looking at this idea from author Enrique Aurelli. He says it's happening right in front of us.
That's right. Aurelio, in his writing, Balcanizacion de Argentina, he's saying this isn't just, some random thing happening. He thinks there are powerful forces, like actually making this happen, pushing Argentina towards this fractured state on purpose.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So for our listeners, maybe some haven't read Aureli's work, what does this balkanization even mean when we talk about Argentina? How does it actually work?
So picture this, right? Imagine you're living in a society where you can't trust anyone. Like, trust just evaporates, and your voice, it just gets lost in all the chaos, and you feel totally powerless. Like, you're just being controlled by these forces, these...
The masters.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. It's like they're pulling the strings, and that's what Aureli's warning about.
Yeah.
It's not about, drawing new lines on a map.
Right.
It's more about, like, strategically dismantling a whole nation, like, from the inside out.
Okay, so it's not some like violent overthrow. It's more calculated, gradual.
Yeah, exactly.
Aureli actually calls it a business plan.
Yeah, he does.
Which kind of implies there's, someone benefiting from this whole balkanization thing.
Oh, absolutely. There's players. There's definitely winners in this.
So who are they? Who are these puppet masters, and what do they gain from a broken Argentina?
Aureli points to two main culprits, and this is what I find interesting. First, you've got your local elites.
Right.
Which, in Argentina, it's almost a classic tale, isn't it?
Yeah.
The descendants of those, powerful families, they've been holding on to their wealth and power since, well, forever, it seems like, since the very beginning.
History repeating itself.
Right. But this time, they've got some new friends.
Let me guess. Foreign entities. Taking advantage.
Spot on. Think of it as like 21st century colonialism.
Ooh, okay.
They see a nation that's, struggling a bit economically, politically, and they see an opportunity like, hey, let's swoop in with promises of investment and prosperity. But there's always a but, isn't there?
Always a catch. At what cost?
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these local elites. They're driven by, what, historical power dynamics?
Yeah.
And then you've got these foreign entities just looking to exploit the situation. It's, I don't know, it just sounds so calculated, like something out of a movie, What proof does Aureli have? Like, how do we know this is a deliberate plan?
So one of Aureli's arguments, and it's a good one, is that this whole balkanization thing hinges on one major thing, weakening the Argentine state itself.
The government.
Exactly. They undermine public trust in their own government.
Make them think that the government's the enemy.
Exactly. Make them lose faith. And when that happens, well, these puppet masters, they can just move right in.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Right? Like if people already think their government is bad, they're not going to bother trying to fix it or hold anyone accountable.
It's like they give up before the fight even starts.
Yeah.
Apathy, resignation.
That's big for the puppet masters.
Perfect. And it gets worse because this whole weakened state situation, it affects Argentina's economic, how do you say, sovereignty?
Independence.
Right. Independence. Yeah, exactly. Economic independence. And when a country isn't really in control of its own economy, that's when these foreign entities, they're just waiting, waiting to swoop in and take advantage.
Right, with their help.
Exactly. Help that always seems to come with a pretty hefty price tag attached.
Okay, so we're talking about a weakened government, a loss of economic control. It's like setting the stage, right? Making Argentina vulnerable. But how does this actually play out in the real world? What are some real-life examples of this balkanization in action?
Okay, so let's look at Argentina's lithium reserves, for example. Huge, right? I mean, they've got some of the biggest lithium reserves in the world. And with electric cars and everything, the demand for lithium, it's exploding.
Yeah, I can see that being a huge opportunity for Argentina.
It could be. It really could. But here's where things get, well, balkanized. Instead of using these resources to build up their own industries to benefit the people living there, what do we see happening? They're signing contracts left and right with these foreign mining companies.
So these companies get to swoop in, take what they want.
Pretty much. And they leave what? a tiny percentage of the profits?
Okay.
Maybe. And let's not even get started on the environmental impact.
It's like that saying, right? The rich get richer.
Exactly. And because the government is so weak, they can't even really negotiate. They don't have the power to say, hey, wait a minute, this has to be fair. We need to protect our land, our people.
It's a vicious cycle. They lose control, and then they're stuck dealing with the consequences.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got the weakened government, we've got the economic dependence. What was a third thing Aurelli mentioned? Something about social divisions, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. See, even if people start to wake up and realize what's happening, even if they're like, hey, these puppet masters are messing with our country, it might not even matter. Because these forces, they're really good at one thing, turning people against each other.
Divide and conquer.
The oldest trick in the book, they make people fight amongst themselves, so they're too busy to notice who the real enemy is.
How, though? How do they actually do that in Argentina? What kind of things are they using to create these divisions?
Well, it's often stuff that's already there, simmering beneath the surface. Economic anxieties, regional differences, political arguments. They take these existing tensions and they just, pour gasoline on them.
Exploit them.
Yes. For example, think about inflation. It's a huge problem in Argentina, right? Always has been. And what do these puppet masters do? They use it. They make sure people are constantly worried about money, about prices going up.
So instead of blaming the system, people blame each other.
Exactly. It's brilliant and awful all at the same time. And we can't forget about the role of media in all this. Misinformation, propaganda, these puppet masters, they're experts at it.
Oh, absolutely. Controlling the narrative is powerful, especially in the age of social media. It spreads like wildfire online.
Right. 1 minute you're scrolling through your feed, the next minute, boom. You're caught in some echo chamber, surrounded by extreme views and fake news.
It's almost like a design to keep us divided.
Because a divided country is a weak country, and a weak country is easy to control.
It all sounds very, I don't know, is there any hope for Argentina? Or is this balkanization inevitable?
Aurelli thinks there's hope, but it all depends on the Argentine people.
What do they have to do?
They have to wake up, they have to see what's happening, and they have to fight back.
Easier said than done.
Oh, for sure. But it starts with awareness. People need to understand the problem before they can even think about fixing it.
So no more sleepwalking toward this fractured future. What can they do? How do they fight back against something this big?
It's a huge challenge, no doubt. But Aurelli says it starts from within. They need to strengthen their institutions, rebuild trust in their government and their justice system.
That's going to be tough, don't you think? I mean, we've been talking about how much effort has gone into weakening those very institutions.
It is tough. It's like rebuilding a house that's been, deliberately knocked down. But it's not about blindly trusting the people in charge. It's about making them earn that trust.
So holding them accountable.
Yeah, exactly. Demanding transparency, making sure they know they're working for the people.
So we're talking about grassroots movements, civic engagement,
Yeah.
people getting involved in their communities.
All of that. It's about reclaiming their democracy, taking back what's theirs. And you know what else? It's about remembering that they're not alone in this.
Right. There's strength in numbers.
Exactly. A strong Argentina benefits everyone, not just the ones at the top. It's about sharing a common goal, believing that they can build a better future together.
It's a nice idea.
Yeah.
But is it enough? I mean, if these tactics, this balkanization, if it's happening everywhere, what chance do we have?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's a scary one. But you know what? Just talking about it, like we're doing now, that's a start.
Awareness is key. But what can we do as individuals? It's easy to feel powerless against, these global forces.
Oh, I know the feeling. Believe me. But we're not powerless. We have more power than we think. Start by being informed. Like, really informed. Don't just read the headlines. Dig deeper. Question everything. And support good journalism, the kind that actually cares about the truth.
Be critical thinkers.
Yes. Think for yourselves. And you know what else? Check your own biases. We all have them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But we got to be aware of them, challenge them, be open to hearing other perspectives, even if you don't agree with them. You never know. You might actually learn something.
It's all about rebuilding trust, isn't it? Trust in each other. Trust in our institutions. Trust that we can actually make a difference.
Bingo. Trust is the foundation of everything. Without it, we're lost. So how do we get it back? By being trustworthy ourselves, by showing up, by listening, by having those tough conversations, even when it's hard.
Choosing hope over fear, action over apathy, unity over division.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And remembering that we're all in this together. The fight for Argentina, it's a fight for all of us. It's a fight for a better world. And it's a fight we can win, but only if we fight it together.
Well, that's certainly something to think about. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you learned something new today and that you'll continue to explore these issues, challenge the status quo, and never stop fighting for a brighter future. Thanks for listening.